The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning. I am Paige Clarke. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. This is where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world to give you the primal edge.
Good opening here. We do this, of course, to get back our rights and our freedoms and get back our health and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm Nico Haan, and the number here, folks, is 877-927-6648.
That's right. Hopefully we got some early birds out there.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful day here, 67. It feels like heaven. We're in Clearwater, Florida. And we love to take your phone calls or answer your questions. You can reach me at Paige@TFNN.com.
Or Nico at TFNN.com. Of course, the phone calls are 877-927-6648. Before we get started, I'd like to remind people that we do have a Health Signals newsletter here.
News you can use to stay healthy.
Yeah, and next Tuesday becoming the first one in May. So pick that up. It's only $5 for each issue. That's $10 a month. Gets you on the first and third Tuesday of every month.
Hey, notice that the top article that you had showing on the Health Signals newsletter is the 5 amazing properties of sunlight.
Yep.
And I want to start our discussion today. I've been thinking a lot about the fact, you know, we're into our spring. Spring has sprung.
Yep.
And we're going to the beach, and I'm seeing a lot of conversations happening out there on Facebook about people talking about the sun and getting in the sun. Should they be in the sun? How do they have fun in the sun? How do they be safe in the sun? What is safe? Sunscreens, should we not? Covering up. It's
upside down world. We're confused people, I think.
It truly is, Nico. It is a real concern, and I do get concerned when I see so much fear of the sun. I believe the sun is our source. And there should be no fear of the sun, but like anything that we indulge in, we need to make sure we use some common sense.
Yeah, there's even a story that goes around the web that the sun is no longer there, that they have a fake sun. It's United States or Russia or somebody put it up there, and it's a simulation.
I've seen the sun simulator information. That's interesting. We might have to explore that one day, but let's talk about, you know what the theory of hormesis is?
The ancient Greek mythology?
Well, what that says is that a small dose is poison. The dose makes the poison.
Oh,
and that a small dose of something can actually stimulate your health. So I think that's the way we need to think about the sun, is that, quite frankly, no one should sit out there and turn themselves into a crispy fried chicken by an overextension of their sun time, but we need it. We need it so desperately. It is the source of life. And I saw this article. I want to open up with some research, because we do cover so much of what we cover here, Nico, is grounded in research. You and I read journals. And this was an article that was in a medical journal, and it's called "The Winding Path Towards an Inverse Relationship Between Sun Exposure and All-Cause Mortality."
Yeah, and this was actually a paper that was done on a series of...
The authors' affiliations were actually part of the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm, Sweden. And really, just to kind of touch on the abstract, because we're going to go to some other things, but we want to know that for a long time, skin cancer has been known to be related to extensive UV exposure, but new emerging data shows low UV exposure and low vitamin D levels to be related to all-cause increase in mortality.
And this kind of goes along with what we've been saying about the sun. Get the sun in the morning, get the sun in the afternoon, avoid the midday, especially here in Florida, along these latitudes, and then you're good to go. A lot of confusion because if you go to the dermatologist, you're told stay out of the sun, put on a hat.
You would think it was the big monster,
right.
and that's what concerns me. The idea is to stay out, cover up, and slather on toxic sunscreens that have more chemicals. And remember, anything you put on your skin, you're actually eating. So that is a real concern. Yeah. And the other thing is that we truly need the beneficial frequencies that are available from full spectrum sunlight. And it's like a buffet. At early morning, at sunrise, there are beneficial frequencies that you get only at those times. And in the noon hour, there are beneficial frequencies that are only available during that time. And again, into nightfall, again, more light frequencies that have beneficial effects. So perhaps getting a smorgasbord tasting of the sun frequencies would be the best thing for our bodies. Yeah,
when you really look at some of the native people of Mexico, where we're getting closer to the equator here, the natural thing to do midday is siesta time. So they're active in the morning, they're active in the afternoon, but when the sun is at its peak, it's time to really relax, sleep, get in the shade.
I think that we can see.
These are traditions that are handed down, not from a textbook, but from the oral traditions of our forefathers.
Well, the other interesting thing is both UV exposure and fair skin are major contributors to skin cancer. We can agree on that. And what do we mean by that? Well, we're not talking about the fact that people are exposed to UV, and as this research article dives down in more detail, it's this overexposure. Overexposing film ruins the picture. Cooking your Thanksgiving turkey ruins the turkey. Same thing, if we get out in the sun, overexposure can create damage.
Well, think about it another way, too, is that we're hiding from the sun, and then when we go out in the sun, we have no relationship to it because we haven't built up
the sun callus.
Exactly.
That's what Jack Kruse calls it, the sun callus we all need. And we're going to find out what this article, I don't want to berate the you know, it's a research article, so it gets into detail, might not be great over the air, but it does. The researchers found that when they compared sun imbibers, you know, people who get out in the sun versus those who didn't, they saw increases in mortality, and they saw increases in disease states, such as deep vein thrombosis. Interesting. And let me just, you know, another one was diabetes, type 2. Another one was...
So these are people who are not getting enough sunlight.
Endometrial cancer and yeah, exactly. What they said is with these conditions, if they had people that got into the sun and another group that did not, a group that got in the sun and a group that did not get in the sun, they saw that the ones that did not get in the sun presented the disease more often or suffered, you know, mortality at a quicker rate.
Yeah. And you and I, being from North Europe, are not as used to the sun as some people who probably are native Floridians. Hence, our skin is much whiter to begin with, and we have to really watch ourselves not to get overexposed.
Well, that's where we're going to go with this, and this is what I've learned so much from Dr. Jack Kruse, is that we really have to pay attention to getting light, chronobiology at the right times, and we have to pay attention to what Jimmy Buffett's been singing about, latitude and longitudes. And we got to pay attention to where we are and use that as a dosing. So we're going to get back and talk a little bit more about how you can be healthy and have fun in the sun.
And pick up some Primal Edge during the break, folks. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back. We're talking about having fun in the sun. Before the break, we discussed the fact that research is showing that your sun exposure, intelligent sun exposure, decreases all-cause mortality, and we know that vitamin D has been shown when you have adequate vitamin D levels, you turn off the genes for over 300 plus diseases. Sounds like a good investment, but it's not about getting the vitamin D that comes in a bottle. It's about making our own vitamin D with the help of the sun. And I found a website, Nico, this young gentleman, Jeff Bowles, has written a couple of books on vitamin D, and this caught my eye based on that research I shared with our listeners today. The overwhelming proof that vitamin D3 deficiency causes most human diseases, as we discussed, and the smoking canon, latitude, and the incidence of disease. Remember what I just said, that where we live can really impact disease, and we see this already. We see higher incidences of diseases like MS and diabetes in colder latitudes where people are not getting the exposures. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, one thing that we didn't show in that research article was some of these people they were studying in Sweden, where they get minimal sun, would we agree? It showed that the people who actually in Sweden, remember they were comparing people who got out in the sun and the ones that didn't, and they were also had a group that got into tanning beds. Mm-hmm. And they had even the tanning bed people had a marked decrease in their cancer, mm-hmm. or the expression of disease, say MS or this kind of thing. Right. The whole point I'm trying to say is, why do you think the industries might be poo-pooing the tanning bed industry? Because it gets in the way of business. I'm sorry to say, but I think tanning, same thing. Tanning beds, I think, for people who don't have exposure, may actually really help raise that vitamin D better than a supplement. But let's dive into this a little bit. He's got some good points I want to share today.
Well, he says in the last 6 years you've come up with a simple tactic to see if disease is caused by vitamin D3 deficiency and might be treatable with a high dose of vitamin D3. He says, I've heard from more than 1,000 people using the high dose vitamin D regimen to treat various diseases over the years and found that the high-dose vitamin D3 is almost a miracle cure for up to 70 different diseases and conditions, including what you mentioned,
MS, lupus,
depression, Crohn's disease, psoriasis, and many, many more.
Well, I can tell you that for sure, because as a person who is a health empower mentor, I like to say, I see so many people that talk and work with me. If they're having symptoms, one of the first things I ask them is what their vitamin D status is or what their relationship is with the sun.
Now, what do they consider high dosage of vitamin C, and how are they applying it? That's my question, first of all.
Yeah, now, you know, this is a very mixed thing. I mean, I'm learning from a lot of the practitioners that believe that perhaps supplementation is not our best choice.
Especially when it's multiple supplement.
Yeah,
when they're mixed together.
Again, think about it. What we're going to learn is that vitamin D3 is a hormone.
Yes.
And with a lot of hormones, what happens if you supplement the hormone? What's going to happen to your own endogenous production?
It's going to go down and it's not going to be produced. So your ability to produce the vitamin D that you need or convert things to it might be compromised because of that.
Exactly, because what we've learned from Dr. Stephanie Seneff, that one of the other, you know, I opened up this show explaining that there are beneficial frequencies in natural sunlight at early sunrise, at noon, and at the end of the day. And those frequencies do other things, such as the early morning UVA, nearly when the sun's rising, actually stimulates the skin to expand and have the endothelial cells in our vessels produce nitric oxide, which relaxes the vessels. Huge for circulation.
Sure.
So we could go on that. So, you know, we're not going to, whether we supplement or whether we get in the sun, this getting in the sun to me is really the most important thing, and making your own vitamin D and making your own cholesterol sulfate. Dr. Stephanie Seneff believes that that may be more important than the vitamin D production. So we could go on and on. There's different opinions, but I do think that when people are suffering conditions and you know, not getting in the sun, there may be a case to do some supplementation to get these levels up fast, because I think it's like flipping a switch. When the vitamin D receptor sites are full, the switches of disease get turned off. That's what we want.
So when he's saying high dosage, we're going to be high dosing with a supplement and maybe high dosing with morning sun, afternoon sun.
I really like the sun approach, but let's go ahead. Okay. What the good news is what he's saying is when we get vitamin D sufficient, we turn off disease and we turn on health. But he's got a great website, so I'm going to really dive down it, and he really provides mountains of overwhelming proof that it really is a very amazing thing to consider. And let's talk a little bit about how and why vitamin D3 can have such miraculous effects on your health. Because first of all, vitamin D3 is not a vitamin, and that's important for folks to understand. Vitamin D is not a vitamin. It's a powerful hormone that your body makes when your sun hits your unprotected skin. It is a hormone that tells your body that winter is over and summer is here, and your body can stop hibernating and can go ahead and repair any uncompleted repair issues that have used all of the resources. Again, what's he explaining? He's explaining a chronobiology, a timing.
Yeah.
A timing thing. Yeah. And most of us find ourselves in a state with chronically low vitamin D.
Yeah, and if we're in our natural state living in the wild, this is just a natural thing that we would automatically go through. You get out of the cave, you get out of your lean-to or whatever it is, your teepee, and you go and you embrace the sun and you stay in there, you do some light work. The children are up, everybody's playing out there. I mean, there was nothing better than going out Saturday morning when I was a kid, getting that screen door, slapping it away, see your mom.
Barefoot.
Yeah, barefoot, and you're out in the sand and the soil and getting dirty, and it's great.
I love it.
And we were healthy.
But guys, we have an epidemic of sun avoidance and the use of sunscreen. I was driving home the other day in my neighborhood, and I was noticing how green the trees were. I was coming back from an appointment, so it was like noon. And this woman was walking, and she had like a sunscreen shirt on. Well, I give her credit. If she's worried about burning, I'd rather see her wearing sleeves than slathering sunscreen.
And today, of course, we have to worry about the sun rays. I mean, the cosmic rays and things like that being very high.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, her head was completely covered in a sun hat. She had big, huge glasses. And I thought, she's missing the opportunity to get that light. We want the real sunlight in our eyes. We don't want this kind of light. That's why I wear the blue blocker glasses at any time that I'm bombarded by computer lights, because these are not healthy lights pretty much any time, especially not early in the morning.
Our producer, Al, is asking about the ozone layer depletion factor. And, of course, we know that the ozone layer is thin at the poles. This is where it gets, but there's also the Atlantic oscillation area that has very little of the ozone there. So there are areas of the globe that there is no protection at all. But as we know, going through this solar minimum too, we're going to have much less protection. So it's kind of a double whammy in a way. Yes, we need the sunlight, but we now have to be more careful because those cosmic rays can burn you.
But let me just preface that I do not believe that needing to be careful means slathering on 75 chemicals on your skin. It is more a timing issue. It is more of a intelligent exposure issues. So when we come back, we'll continue teaching you more about the power of vitamin D.
We'll be right back, folks.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back. So basically your body knows what shape it's supposed to be in, Paige. There's an exact blueprint of your entire body located in the DNA of the nucleus of each cell of our body. If your body has a chronic issue or incomplete repair, it's not and it is not an accident or loss of blueprint information. It just means that your body is waiting until it gets the signal that conditions are right for your body to do the repairing.
That's kind of like what Dr. Minkoff had used to say about not having the building blocks, the aminos.
Exactly.
It was like, hey, I don't have time to repair that because you didn't give me the right materials.
Yeah.
Same thing happens
here.
here.
The signal actually comes from in the form of the vitamin D3. So your sun exposure is huge, because this is, remember, this is the only way we really get vitamin D unless we do it dietarily way.
And there's just so few foods that actually contain enough vitamin D, as we know, and guess which ones those are? Those are ones that are usually the animal foods, because they are the solar receptors.
Well, it's a fat-soluble vitamin or hormone in this case.
Yeah, but isn't that fascinating? When you stop and think about it, that your body knows your perfect blueprint, and since you are a body of light, and light is information, doesn't it make sense that we need to be in that light so that we can be properly programmed?
So one of the things, of course, is directly related to this is bone health.
Mm-hmm.
So people in latitudes that are not receiving the sun have more of a problem with osteoporosis, with bone health in general. Rickets comes to mind during grand solar minimums.
Oh, sure.
Rickets is directly related to the vitamin D3.
That's exactly right. So it's really funny, Nico. So you work the computer. So we're going to show you graphically. It's easier to see. We'll heap the overwhelming proof on you that disease incidence decreases when vitamin D increases. You know, simply Googling a long list of diseases, and along with the search term latitude, you can view these Google images, and you can see their illustrations showing the incidence of a particular disease that varies in incidence with latitude. Yeah, on the Telestrator, this is what Jack's been
I have a graph here, the global distribution of MS. The high risk is the pink here in the United States. The probable high risk is this more
looks like in the
pink.
lower southeast. Look in the United States.
Right here.
Oh, yeah,
this is a
gradient risk.
Yeah, north and south gradient risk. Mm-hmm. So this is where most of the problems
Interesting.
seem to
Florida
go.
is a low risk area.
Yeah.
But so we can truly see that the impact of your latitudinal location, it really can be a big instigator in whether or not you might present with a disease.
Yeah, now here's a chart on breast cancer versus latitudes. So the lower latitudes are better, the higher latitudes, or I guess I got it backwards as far as the lower latitudes being where you're at higher risk, being up north. So here we have also the correlation of the cancer, colon
the
cancer.
Colorectal cancer, same thing. Folks, what we see in that other study that we saw, the endometrial cancer rates, for example, were much higher in people who lived in the higher latitudes, except if they sat in tanning beds. That particular study actually had a group, and the ones that sat in this. So again, it tells you that it is the light receptor stimulation that is turning these DNA switches on and off. This goes on and on. We can show you here lupus in the UK. Maybe you can pull this map up. Scroll on down, Nico. This is looking just at the UK, and we see a much higher incidence or a point prevalence per 100,000 for lupus in the areas, the higher latitudes of the UK, experiencing much higher incidences of those diseases.
Yeah, this is when you see anomaly of high prevalence area where low incidence should be expected is often because the darker skinned individuals are living in that area. So there are cases where you're getting a different reading, but the fact shows that now you have darker skinned people living there, so that skews.
And it takes a lot more sun for darker skinned people to actually manufacture sufficient vitamin D3. It acts as a natural sunscreen, so people living closer to the equator, these people, wherever they're living, are going to need more exposure to actually get the beneficial effects of vitamin D3.
Yeah, so the skin is protecting them.
Nico, if you'll scroll on down, I want to find this chart that shows the incidence rate of type 1 diabetes right here. Incidence rates of type 1 diabetes in children. This is pretty evident of the impact of perhaps global positioning of your GPS factor. You can see up in Canada and so forth, that's where we see this the most. Poor exposure to sun in this diabetes type 1
Yeah, I think
in
what
children.
you're seeing also there, when you're talking about very north of Canada, you're seeing problems with diet because the indigenous people now have been eating the cereals and...
Yes, that's a really good point.
Yeah, so...
They're not eating the foods that they were. That's a great point, Nico.
So all these people, if you go about halfway through this chart of Canada right here, if you go north of where James Bay is here in Hudson Bay, all those people are native people. There's very few people. There's adventurers living up there, but that's rough territory. That is tundra. So the people who are living up there, if they have diabetes, they're using a diet of Western type.
Oh, I agree with you. And then look, we're very next in line, the United States being the next incident. And so really we know that dietary choices as well as exposure. And, think about it. The United States has been a big marketer of the fear of the sun and the marketing of sunscreens. So we could go on and on. This is heavily researched asthma prevalence associated with geographical latitude and longitude. In the United
Lots of charts
States.
in this. So this is going to be at least linked into a future Health Signals newsletter, so you can see this stuff for yourself. But it just goes on and on with the different types of diseases and cancer and things like that, and they all correlate pretty much the same thing, unless there's another factor.
How about this about schizophrenia? While there was little variation found between latitude ranges for females, there was a significant increase of incidence and prevalence of schizophrenia for males the higher the latitude was. So perhaps not getting that light stimulation and the testosterone hormone was really impactful together, double whammy. Autism, and what we've seen also is an increase in these prevalence since 1980s. Well, what's happened since the 1980s? Many of us started using sunscreen and using more powerful sunscreens to boot, while also avoiding the sun.
Yeah, because that's when the propaganda really came in, was in the 80s. I remember that.
Yeah, that's when the PABA
and global warming added to that too, because now we're saying, okay, the sun is going to be here for, so we better stay away from it because it's really hurting us in many different ways.
In fact, there's been an increase in some melanomas in some of these studies. There was the odds ratio for melanoma associated with sunscreen use. There was actually, in some situations, you saw an increase. Well, what we know is, I believe melanoma is not often a cancer caused by UV exposure. I think it's a toxicity combined with inappropriate or unwise UV exposure. Yeah. Burn and avoid, burn and avoid.
Also, diet has a big thing to do with that, I believe. Stuff comes out of your skin when you're not
This
eating
is the
right.
facts, folks. The graphs does here. Sun avoidance is associated with earlier death. Avoiding the sun.
So now we just have to be smart about the sun. We have to get it in our lives, but we have to be smart about it.
And we have to pay attention to our skin and how we deal with it.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I think this is really good information. This might be a great article to put in the newsletter for our newsletter subscribers. I think you'll find many of these graphs compelling.
Consider it done. We'll be right back, folks. Stick around. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated folic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back to the show. We've been talking about the sun, and here we have Charlene, age 44, enjoying the sun.
That's right, Charlene Anderson.
She's quite a unique person, and we're going to be talking about her quite a bit. She was born in March 22nd in 1973 to an engineer and a physical therapist, and her mom's dad was an MD with an emphasis on OBGYN.
Sure. But her dad, the diet that she grew up on was a healthy diet of cereal and low-fat milk. Well, we see where that gets us, and to snack in between standard low-fat meals. The reason we're mentioning Charlene Anderson is I found her because she is espousing the benefits of carnivory, a diet of meat, a meat-based diet. And we think she looks really nice out there enjoying the sun, realizing that that's an important thing for us to be healthy. And her website, if you want to check her out, because we're going to be featuring some of her blogs, it's called meatheals.com. Meat Heals. And,
so she had lots of problems. She was nursed for a little while. She weaned off of breast milk about 3 months. Then I had all kinds of problems with formulas and things like that. Growing up, she always has rashes, asthma, allergies. She had problems with her period when she became a teenager. I mean, she couldn't find any answers of any kind. She had big problems all through her life, and nobody could address it with any kind of dietary problem.
She found out, you know, she was an only child, so her parents sent her to the best summer camps and so forth. And in retrospect, she, had some symptoms, didn't really remember a particular bite, but now believes it was her, camping experiences that she contracted Lyme disease. And over the years, she was treated heavily with antibiotics for the Lyme disease, and many of her other symptoms continued to get worse, and her health kept deteriorating.
One of the interesting things she says, because my grandpa was a doctor, medications were easy access, and antibiotics were given freely.
Right.
This is kind of the standard thing that we are taught.
Well, as I told you, I came from a allopathic medical family. My mom's a nurse and has always had a tremendous respect for the medical doctors, which we all should.
Sure.
They're well educated. However, I barely sniffled that I didn't get an antibiotic, and I believe that was not the best thing for my health.
Yeah.
But she was doing the best that she.
Yeah, and that's what happens, of course. We always want to do the best for our children, and we're thinking we're doing the best with the information that we're getting.
So what's interesting is, so she continued to spiral, like so many of us. I see this story all over the world. I mean, when you look at her list of symptoms and things that were going on, even in her early 30s and 40s, it was just on and on. She went to conventional doctors with absolutely no success. And so down the road, she met someone who was interested in bodybuilding, and became interested in a way to eat to become strong. So she and her gentleman Joe that she met, they ended up getting married, and it was one of the best days of her life, she said. But it's really changed her perspective and gave her a positive turn in her life. And so
one
after
of the best days of her life, she says.
Yeah, so soon after she was diagnosed with the Lyme disease by an alternative medical doctor, it gave her something to focus on, maybe a reason for why she was suffering all those conditions. And so she began to really research and firmly looked at low carb to virtually no carbs, really understanding that perhaps the carbohydrates were triggering inflammation in her body. And she really wanted to produce consistent results. The fish and oil diet was the first diet she remembered being the first to try as a zero-carb diet, and it relieved a lot of her symptoms.
But not all of them.
But not all of them.
Right.
And
she actually had to switch over to animal fat, and that seemed to get rid of just about everything, every little problem that she had.
That's what she says. As soon as I switched to animal fat as my fat source instead of healthy oils.
Right.
And I like the way she says that.
Yes.
Because many of these healthy oils are man-made oils, and remember, it's not necessarily the foods themselves, it's what we do to them, the processing.
That's the processing makes those oils bad, there's no doubt about it. And there's very few oils in liquid form that work very well. There are a few.
And this is my concern I see with so many people that are on a quote-unquote healthy plant-based diet, or they're looking to get their healthy so-called fats, and many of them are through processed sources. And I think the best way to get it is to get it from healthy foods.
Yeah, I think my understanding is that the basis for fat has to be coming from an animal, and then you can supplement a little bit of nut and other things that come from vegetables and fruits. So the basis really has to be the animal. That's the way genetically we're made to operate, I believe.
Yeah, so she shares a lot of information about what her research, what happened. She actually said that as she experimented with pork or ground meats, they aggravated some of her symptoms. That's interesting. And she continued to do research, and it led her to someone named Blake Donaldson, who suggested a steak and water diet for his patients. That's interesting. Maybe you want to scroll up to that. That made a lot of sense to her. So she started with pemmican. Can you explain to people what pemmican is?
Yeah, pemmican is a little bit of protein with a lot of fat, and usually they put a little bit of fruit in it, like a berry or something like that. This comes from the American Indians that used to do this. And of course they were infatuated with the fat, and the fat kind of helped shield the protein so it wouldn't go rancid. Most of the protein was dried. It's very easy to carry it around. I use it on my vacations when I'm out in the woods. It's something nice to chew on, and it'll save your life if you have it and you have nothing else. It's probably the best thing you can do instead of
a great survival food.
That's for sure.
And some people were actually reviving that tradition. So she said, sure enough, as soon as I decided to go all beef, every single one of her hundreds of symptoms vanished. She couldn't believe it. And whenever I tried to share my success and happiness about this, it was met with more questions and stares and blank faces.
Yeah,
people were rather shocked, or they rolled their eyes.
These days, her husband and her eat ribeye steak since it's the fattiest. We drink spring water. That's what we do. We don't think about it. We really don't even talk about it. To us, it's like talking about why the sky is blue. Yes, there is scientific reasoning behind it. It's nice to understand, but its beauty is really, it comes down to it, is from the appreciating
this is interesting
of it.
what she says here. She says she found that the more she ate meat only, remember, she's espousing a carnivory lifestyle, her face shape changed, and especially her body. She went from needing to work out religiously and strenuously when eating poorly to giving up exercise completely in order to not become too muscular or masculine looking. And even, so it's very interesting that she use this
Well, she
whole
doesn't look
approach.
masculine.
No, she looks real good to me. I think she looks healthy.
Yep.
And as we said, we're going to share with you some more information about her experience with a carnivorous lifestyle. Many people are finding that they can revitalize their health and performance through carnivory or using meats as their primary sources. I just became Facebook friends with someone that I found who was celebrating his 3rd-year anniversary of just a meat and eggs and diet. You know, and he's
Well,
around
I see
70 years old and looking
I see
good.
a lot of people doing this. Of course, I'm doing this. I've been 0 carb or very close to 0 carb for a long time, working very, very well for me. And my wife and I are really happy in what we're doing. And it's simple, it's easy. So, you know, it's something to discover, folks. Stick around. We got a lot more.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Welcome back, and that's right, Matt from St. Pete. We're rewilding everybody here. We're talking about, you know, some of this stuff might sound wild, but maybe that's really the point. We need to get rewild ourselves. So we were sharing information about Charlene Anderson, who is experiencing carnivory and expounding on the benefits it has helped in recovering her health. And many, many people, I suggest you go to her site, Meat Heals, and look at some of those articles. But really what it comes down to is returning to our natural state of natural healthy ketosis. In other words, using fats for energy. And in the use of these healthy fats that we get in meat sources, we're getting the amino acids or building blocks from the protein, and we're getting the natural ketones.
And it makes a lot of sense when you think about the body composition, where we have a lot of fat floating around in our body. We have it in different parts of our body.
And I like to use that fat that's floating around my body.
And the other thing, the sucrose, which is the sugar, we have not so much of it in our body, and our body always wants to get rid of it. Yeah, it'll burn it, but it wants to get rid of it.
I think it's an emergency fuel that when it stays around, it causes a lot of inflammation.
Exactly. So let's read the summary of this great.
Yes.
This is called ketosis and nutritional ketosis.
Yeah, ketones and nutritional ketosis, basic terms and conditions. This was written by 2 experts in the field of ketosis, and that's Drs. Finney and Volek. So if you see any articles or research from them, you know these are some guys that are top-notch in this information.
Yeah, the ability to achieve keto adaptation is an elegant metabolic blueprint hardwired in our genetic code and our metabolism that sustains optimum fuel flow to all the organs where dietary carbohydrates are limited and protein consumed in moderation.
That's right.
So this is the standard right here.
This
protein
is the
in
whole
moderation.
idea. That's the key word. Low carbs, moderate protein, adequate fat.
Right.
Emerging research indicates that keto adaptation has transformative disease-fighting and performance-enhancing effects. Ketone supplements can produce acute ketosis in keto-naive individuals or augment ketone concentration in those who are keto-adapted.
Yeah, we don't yet know under which conditions this is good, bad, or neutral. Scientific inquiry into the application of ketone supplements is underway. D'Agostino is doing this over at the University of
We're so
Central
lucky
Florida.
that Dr. Dom D'Agostino is the head of the metabolic research group. So we've had a chance to interview. Remember, Stephen and I went over and we interviewed Angela, his assistant. So this is fascinating. So what they're saying is we're not real sure what the exogenous ketone supplements really do, but for now there are more questions than answered. In short, though, nutritional ketosis and keto adaptation are natural, and if not the preferred metabolic states for humans.
Yeah, this is something that, of course, Nora Gagatis has preached in the last 10 years when we have her on the show. This is what Charlene Anderson is doing. This is what we're doing, and it's working quite well. With proper education about a well-formulated ketone diet, a ketogenic diet, and ongoing support, most people can adapt their patterns of eating to induce sustained nutritional ketosis with significant perceived benefit. In other words, you're going to be really good.
That is exactly right. And folks, don't get this confused. I know this is a word. Do not get this, confused with ketoacidosis. That is a distinct pathological state that happens when insulin levels are extremely low, such as a person with type 1 diabetes that cannot produce insulin. Yep. This is a different term, and it is a big confusion.
Well, this is a term that was used in the 50s and 60s, and it kind of got adapted with the medical community to scare off the ketone type of philosophy.
Yeah, but keto adaptation is when we maintain for several consecutive weeks nutritional ketosis that fundamentally changes the way your cells work and how they're powered with energy and their fuel source. It's our natural, primal, wild way we're supposed to power ourselves.
That's right, and that's a good way to sum up the show. Really, thank you for sticking around, folks. Really appreciate it.
Have a super weekend. We'll see you next time on Living a Primal Lifestyle.
Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.